Have you ever wanted to go skiing in Utah? Right now, man, they've got brand new snow up on the hills. We went up there a month ago outside of Salt Lake City and got to see where the Olympics were going to be held in 9 years, the 2034 Winter Olympics, back on the same site that they had quite a while ago. I'm Paul Comfort, and on this episode of Transit Unplugged, we take you inside the transit system that serves the Salt Lake City area. It's a large regional system called the Utah Transit Authority, and my friend Jay Fox is executive director. He's been there 4 years. He's got a great background in transit, both at the Federal Transit Administration, at Amtrak, at SEPTA, even time at the Federal Aviation Administration. He brought all that experience with him to Utah, where he now is helping to deliver tremendous results. So much so that their agency was awarded the Transit System of the Year by the American Public Transportation Association this year. Congratulations to Jay and his team. We were there filming an episode of Transit Unplugged TV, which will air this February on YouTube and other digital channels. And today we dive deep into the transit system. We talk about the ROI on transit. $1 invested in UTA, Utah Transit Authority, generates $5.11 in economic return. And they've got the receipts to prove it. This ROI concept is very interesting. They've also got their commuter rail service, FrontRunner. He just got back from Washington, D.C., where he's lobbying for additional federal funds to help them double track their service so they can increase their capacity of services on the commuter rail. Their ridership is skyrocketing. They've got all kinds of exciting things going on with bus rapid transit, etc. We show it all to you in a couple months, but today you get to hear about it in depth from Jay Fox, their executive director. Enjoy this conversation. We're with Jay Fox today. Jay is executive director of the Utah Transit Authority in Salt Lake. Jay, thanks for joining the show.
Thanks for having me, Paul. I really appreciate it. I'm really looking forward to the show.
Thank you. Yeah, we had such a great time with you. About a month ago, our team from Transit Unplugged were out visiting with your agency. Gavin Gustafson helped, your public information officer, helped kind of be our guide, and we got to see your whole system. We got to ride all your different services, and what a fantastic area, Jay. You've landed in a great place to live, and what a great system.
Yeah, no, it's a really cool place. I mean, one, it's nice to live where other people vacation,
Yeah.
and number two is, it's such a great system. When I was at Federal Transit, just people just rave about what we do and what this means, what an agency that moves 40.5 million people means to a state that has only 3.5 million people. So it's a fantastic. It's a privilege to be the executive director here.
Yeah, you've been there 4 years now?
It's 4 years. Yeah, I've just
Yeah.
finished my fourth year, and yeah, it's been every year has its own challenges, but every year we just keep getting it done. Over and over again. It's great. 3,000 employees, and they make it happen every day.
Absolutely. Now, you were just in Washington, D.C. this week, right? You mentioned you worked at FTA as well. We'll dive into your background in a minute, but you've got great connections there. And what were you there working on in D.C.?
Yeah, so our FrontRunner 2X project, which is the double tracking of FrontRunner right now. We have 25% double tracking for our system, but it only allows us to have half hour frequency in the peak. We're looking to increase that to 50% double tracking, add an infill station, add a new locomotive facility or rail car facility, and that'll give us the 15-minute service, open the door to Sunday service. So yeah, it really is. It would be a generational project. So we're out there just letting our delegation know, the House and Senate committees know, what we're doing and what we hope that they'll partner with us when it comes to funding.
That's great. So FrontRunner is your rail server, your heavy rail, right?
Yeah, it's our heavy rail commuter service. It essentially is runs parallel to Interstate 15, which is, so we're the transit lifeline. The Interstate 15 is the highway lifeline, and but it's really hitting capacity I-15, and having FrontRunner, be an option for folks makes a big difference. The people think, oh, well, this gets people on transit. That's a great thing. Well, yeah, it does. It also pulls cars off the road because those freight trucks they only have one direction and they go and they can't use our system. So less traffic on I-15, the easier it is for those trucks to get through.
Absolutely. Tell us about your whole system, Jay. I mean, that's only one part of it. You run it amazing. I got to ride it, a great commuter rail service. What else do you have there?
We have a total 131 miles of rail. So you have the commuter rail. We have three light rail lines that are part of the tracks network. We have a streetcar line, which is 2 miles that runs into the Sugar House area. A huge fixed bus route network, three bus rapid transits, one of which is coming online in April, a year early, I have to add. So really exciting. A really great microtransit program for us is known as our innovative mobility work. And Vanpool, paratransit. I mean, you got it. We're the true multimodal system.
Yeah, absolutely. What's your annual budget for all that?
So our operating budget is, we're actually just finishing that now with our trustees. It's going to come in around 480 plus million a
Okay.
year. A lot of that, as we get through not only obviously we get fare box, but well funded for sales tax revenue from the counties and the municipalities that support us.
That's great. Yeah, and that since you mentioned that, let's talk about the service area. You're not just serving Salt Lake City, the capital.
Oh
You're
yeah.
serving a whole area, right?
Yeah, no, it's 77 municipalities, 6 counties. It's a lot. It challenges any government relations professional. So, because look, the good thing is the demand for our system is really strong. People want more and more and more service. So, getting to make sure that that happens is, obviously, funding is part of that. Making sure we have the personnel to do it. I always say, you build that highway, well, they've got the built-in drivers, that are in those vehicles. But you add transit, that's more operators and more maintenance people. But yeah, very large service area, maybe one of actually the largest in the country. We're really a highly urbanized area here. People think of Utah as expansive, but so much of the state is federally or state owned because it's wide open space that where people live is very densely populated. And I'm sure you saw that when you got here. I mean, you were to come to Utah a century ago, you were like, wow, I don't even recognize the place anymore. So yeah,
Yeah.
so that's the need for transit because it's a lot of young people are here too, and they use transit. Our core ridership is 18 to 34.
Oh, wow. That's really good, Jay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, when we were there, we stayed up at the Inn on the Hill, which was just down from your state capitol. That's a phenomenal looking building too. I mean, we got to tour it inside, and the weather, the Christmas. We were there in November. I mean, you have some of the best snow in the country. I know it's snowing today there, where people go
Yeah.
and ski, and the streets are clean. It's a wonderful area, Jay. I mean, I was super impressed.
No, and you just mentioned the skiing, which is a service that I didn't even talk about. We have a seasonal service on
Oh
top of that
yeah,
12-month service that's bringing people up to all the resorts, the canyons in Salt Lake County as well as north and south of there. Yeah.
yeah. Was that called the snow bus?
It's our ski bus service, yeah.
Ski bus,
So, and
ski bus. Yeah.
we were actually ready to roll it out, and the snow wasn't cooperating. But I think everybody's very happy to see it today. So we'll get that ski service up and running right now. So
Yeah, because some of those roads are windy. We drove up them, and one of them is like the most avalanche-prone road in the country
yeah,
or something.
yeah, no, and it's a big part of our work with the Utah Department of Transportation. As that season goes along, that those avalanche threats, come up. And so our operating team is working with them, working with those resorts all the time to make sure that when we're going up and down those mountains, it's safe to do so. It's still, you need experienced operators to do that kind of work. These are narrow roads that, to your point, are very windy, and these are 40-foot buses. And in our safety record is tremendous. So, but it's because of the effort we put in with all our partners.
Yeah, Gavin took us up to a couple of the ski operations, Alto and the other place, Snow Basin, where I think the Olympics are going to be, and it was they are very pro ride the bus,
Yeah, yeah,
take the ski bus up here. Don't try to park your cars, and sometimes the lineup of cars just to get in there can be
yeah.
extensive.
No, to get into canyons, I mean, because it's really one lane in, one lane out. It's once ski season starts, it's really really tough. I mean, and it's because everybody wants to come up there in the peaks, right? They want to come up in the peak, they want to leave in the peak.
Right.
For those who go up super early or those who wait till the midday, they're probably a little bit happier. They don't have to wait in as much traffic. But and those lots fill up there as well. A lot of the resorts have gone to scheduled parking because otherwise you get people waiting outside to get in and they can't even get a space.
Hey, I want to congratulate you on your APTA award this year. Tell us about that.
Yeah. public transportation system of the year for our class. Really exciting. It means, it means a lot to me, coming here and being here for 4 years. It means so much to our employees. We're treating the APTA award as the Stanley Cup. It's making its way around all the facilities so everybody can take a picture with it, because that's who does the work every day. It's our operating team. It's all the people that support that operating team on the administrative side. And I remember when I first got back from Boston, where we were announced as the winner. I literally got off the plane, got in my car, went to headquarters, and just took it around headquarters, posing with everybody with a picture. Because it's just that moment where you want to celebrate your success. And I mean, look, our customers appreciate what we do every day, but it's when you get that external recognition, it makes you feel really good about what you're doing.
Absolutely. Well, and it's in recognition of a lot of great stuff. I mean, you've had two successful BRTs. You've really
Yeah,
rebounded from the pandemic. You've had a
yeah.
million service miles. In April 2025, your new track station was built in a year. I mean, tell us some about all that. You've had some great accomplishments over the last year or so.
Just to start from the ridership that we had last year, I mean, we're calculating, to get to 40.5 million, the per capita usage is just as high as any other major transit system out there, given the size of our state. To be able to build out yet another BRT, OGX now is in its second year, all electric.
You've won this great APT award, and I mean, the accomplishments you've had, Jay, are just phenomenal. Your two successful BRTs, your rebound in ridership, your million service miles in April 2025 change day, your new track station, the South Jordan downtown built in a year. I mean, tell us some about these accomplishments and how you got them done.
It's a testament to start with how important transit is to the region. You don't have a lot of state legislators in conservative states that are transit, right? And we have that here. So the funding, the desire, as I said before, for all our communities, to get more and more in. And that just creates successes. And it also, to the project point that you made, Paul, I think the federal government, the FTA, feel very comfortable investing in UTA because they know we deliver all the time. They know they're going to get the ridership. So it makes them feel very comfortable about, what they're, the bang for the buck. So you mentioned the two BRTs that we have already. Ogden Express a couple years ago, the first 2 years, all electric BRT, by the way. And first 2 years, 1 million customers a year. Again, in a state of 3.5 million people, right? That's really showing a lot. And then a new one that's coming online. It's going to be done early. Mid Valley Express going to connect FrontRunner out to West Valley, which is connecting to tracks, our light rail system. That's also going to connect Olympic venues.
Let's go into your background, Jay. You've had an
Sure.
amazing background in public transportation. You're one of the most prepared CEOs. You have a legal background like I do, and you spent some time in law practice privately, and then FAA, FTA, Amtrak, SEPTA, and now Salt Lake City. Tell us about your background and what your interest was that drove you to all these different positions.
Well, I mean, started with the law career like you did, Paul, and then eventually led me to engaging with federal agencies, from representing employees when I was in a plaintiff's practice. And that got me to FAA right after 9/11, which it's like, if we were talking
Wow.
about that, we'd be talking for a couple hours about all the things that happened right after that. But that ultimately I made it, I got a background, I came with personnel law, but then I got a background in procurement and operations, and that, led me to the Federal Transit Administration. And, the beauty of Federal Transit Administration is, now you're touching the world that you're funding, right? You're there at ribbon cuttings, you're there on the street when you see the buses come by, on the trains. So, and that's what gave me the bug. That gave me the real bug. And then, to your point, I just wanted to get lots of different experiences in that world. So when I had that opportunity at Amtrak, it was great to be part of the national railroad system. And then going to SEPTA, major carrier, going through the pandemic at SEPTA. Oh my gosh. And seeing that, the effects. I worked harder during the pandemic than I ever worked in my life. It was just crazy. But that wound me up here, and it's been a wonderful ride.
And we did talk about the Olympics for a little bit. I want to dive into that. You've got Salt Lake City is known for the Olympics. While we were there, we went and actually visited.
Yeah.
Gavin took us up to the snow place where the skiing is going to take place, and we also saw the cauldron where the great Olympic flame was. And Mitt Romney
Yeah.
really came to the nations know,
Yeah.
knowing about him because he kind of helped come in there and help do that. Tell us about how UTA is preparing for the Olympics that are coming there again, the Winter Olympics in 2034. It seems like a long ways off, but you guys are already in preparation and you've already got a lot already prepared from your previous one, right?
Yeah, by the way, you mentioned Mitt Romney. He actually directed traffic at one point in those Olympic Games. That's how
Talk
on the
about doing
ground
what
he
has to
was.
be done, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, there's a lot of stories about that. No, the wonderful thing about our preparation for the Olympic Games is everything that we had in the plans for what we'd like to do for this games, it was already there, right? It existed. There's nothing that we said, oh, we got to do this in order to get the games. So that was the one thing that we talked about with the IOC. We're ready today. We're ready today. There were projects that we're
Wow.
going to do that could help, but we're ready to make it happen today. And they came out, they saw our system, they were very impressed with it. It's going to be a very different Olympics than the last one because the last one was mostly park and ride, right? We had like just a little bit of rail that was just starting to building. There was no commuter rail line that was running the spine of the system. So we're super, it's going to be fantastic. That FrontRunner 2X project that I talked about, getting that kind of service, getting to 15-minute service, all those are going to be game changers. All those are going to be important, and so they're on the hopper right now. We're hoping to deliver as many as we can by 2034. But again, if it happened today, Paul, we'd be ready to move people.
I mean, that's amazing. I've been to
Yeah,
several cities lately, including Brisbane and others that are preparing for the Olympics or big games like the World Cup coming here, and they're still in heavy preparation mode. And to
yeah.
have it kind of already done 8 years ahead of time or 9 years, that's phenomenal, man.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think the whole community, I mean, all the venues are there, all the hotel space needed for it. I think they feel, that doesn't mean that we don't have a lot of planning to go over the years ahead. But it's nice to have you already built all those pieces of infrastructure that are going to be needed to drive the Olympics forward.
Next year, I'm hoping to do a documentary on called "What's Wrong with Transit America: Why Less Than 5% of Americans Ride Transit Regularly." But one thing that's become clear as we've done research for this is that people do ride transit during big events, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's the Super
Yeah.
Bowl, the World Cup, or the Olympics. I mean, that's where really we shine, and we get a lot of people kind of trying it or testing it during those times.
I'll tell you, here's my solution to what you're talking about. You have a transit system. Make sure every major university in your area, including even the school districts, have passes for your transit system. Get those fare agreements down. Get them riding on transit because if they ride on transit when they're kids or when they're university students, they will stay on transit. That's the beauty. That university population has driven our ridership forward.
Is
They
that
they
right?
and they yeah, they take it. I mean, our number is going up to the University of Utah and at BYU. I mean, that bus rapid transit I talked about before down in the Provo area, UVX, that connects the Utah Valley University and BYU to two separate locations to FrontRunner. I mean, that's how you get people riding transit is get them used to doing it. And much easier to get the young person to get used to riding transit and continue to do that over their lifetime than trying to get somebody that's as mature as you and me to
Yeah,
convert over
yeah,
to transit.
right.
You're going to be a lot easier to do that.
That's interesting. Yeah. Let's talk about the economic impact, the value that transit in general has. I mean, we know that we're talking about how people ride for events, but the day to day usage of transit, particularly there, I mean, how many jobs do you have with that you say are supported by what you do?
Yeah, we create directly or indirectly 79,000 jobs just by having our system out there, just by
Really?
the operations of the system. Yeah, and I think you're raising a really good point, Paul. We're transit geeks, right? We've been around transit for a while. We're turned on by mobility. We're turned on by accessibility. But there are a lot of people who are on the investment side, in those state houses or even in local electeds. They want to see what's the economic return, and
Yes.
I think that we as an industry are really focused on that now. And so we spend a lot of time doing it here. How much do we return to the state treasury? How much just on a basic, $1 invested return do you get? It's important because I told you before we have a $483 million operating budget, right? What's that returning?
Yeah.
Because if it's in multiples, and we have it as over a multiple of five, that's a lot back to the community. So we have a 2 mile of our 131 miles of rail. We have a 2 mile streetcar line into the Sugar House district here in Salt Lake City. It costs about $60 million to build. It's a big investment, right? The University of Utah did a study $2 billion in economic return over that time period. In fact,
From a
we'll
$60 million
love to,
investment.
yeah, yeah, we'd love to send you a picture. I'm sure we can arrange to have that. It shows what that area looked like 10 years ago and it looks like now. Like literally just a phrase over. It's an industrial desert turned into this, like developed Mecca. Right. And that's what transit does. It makes a big difference, whether it's creating jobs, whether it's just moving goods and services in a much easier fashion because you're pulling people off of those roads and putting them on transit. It creates so much for the community, as well as also, the cost avoidance. That's less wear and tear on the highways, less wear and tear on your cars. That's but you got to calculate those numbers because that's what the investors care about. With it, we don't pay in earnings per share, right? We
Right.
pay in return, right? And we're no different than fire and police and all the other critical infrastructure in that way.
Let me walk you through some of the numbers I've found when I did some research here, and tell me if these numbers sound right. I saw that $9.6 billion more in goods and services generated by the state of Utah due to the time and mileage savings
Yeah,
from riding
yeah,
transit.
it's an incredible number. Again, that's what I call getting those freight trucks through quicker, right? That's the simplest. You pull people off onto transit, and the trucks can't go in transit, so so that's the way to make it happen. So it's a huge number, but it's part of my little game, Paul, where I would love to turn off the transit system for a week, and everybody
Yeah.
would they would get it immediately, right?
Absence makes the heart grow fonder. um,
Exactly.
$377 million in tax revenue flowing back to local, state, and federal
See,
coffers.
yeah, yeah, and you know what? The value of that statistic, Paul, is that if you never ride transit, right, or if you're in an area that doesn't have transit, but you're still in the same state, you're still getting a benefit from it. It's going back to the treasury. That's helping state parks. That's helping subsidy programs for people all around state agriculture. So it's all that is circular, right? And
Yeah.
so even if you're not part of a place that has transit, but you're part of a state that's benefiting from transit, you're going to find that money back to you.
The last number that I find fantastic is the $500, 500% ROI. $1
Yeah,
invested in UTA generates $5.11 in economic return.
yeah, yeah, and I don't think and UTA is not, we're not the exception there. I mean, I think that's transit across the country. We've seen that number before, but again, it helps our agency justify, its budget, right? Not only are we employing all these people, so there's an economic benefit to that, but that every dollar that's coming into our agency is returning, in multiples.
Jay, one last question I wanted to circle back on the Olympic preparation because I forgot about this one. Aren't you guys working with Milan and LA to help prepare some?
Yeah, no, I mean, LA is getting ready for the 28 Summer Olympics, so they're already looking to a lot of agencies around the country, not only, for personnel support, for vehicle support, because they're not going to have enough vehicles to run
Right.
them by themselves, nor did we in 2002. We got both rail and buses that came in. So we're working with the LA Metro team and the LA 28 organization. And then our Olympic organizing committee is going to go participate in an observer program in Milan. So there's a couple of us that are going to go out there, look at mountain operations. And I would love to tell you it's a vacation, but it is anything but. I already got like the itinerary. If I can sneak off to one hockey game, I'll be lucky. So
Yeah,
it's going to be very busy, but we'll get a lot out of it. So we're excited
absolutely.
about being participating.
You will. I just got back from there, as you know. I was in Milan covering for
Hmm.
our Transit Unplugged TV show, which is live now on YouTube for people. And we got to ride their transit. I went to the airport riding their, unmanned high-speed underground
Yeah,
metro system and show people, okay, when you
yeah.
get to the airport, come right here to this location and go downstairs and get on the train and take it to there. I mean, they've got it. They're ready. I mean, it's right happening.
Yeah, and that was my request out of the organizing committee was like, what do you want to see as, the executive director, my chief operations officer will be there. We want to be in front of that transit agency, excuse me, as much as possible, right? We want to be there because we want to learn as much as we can from them as we get ready for our own.
Yeah, so that is the 2026 Winter Olympics, right?
That'll be 26 flying out on February 1st. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great, man. Well, this is good. For those of you who have listened to the podcast today and want to actually see what Jay's been talking about, you're going to have the opportunity to do so. This is a podcast which goes along with our upcoming television show, Transit Unplugged TV, featuring Salt Lake City and the Utah Transit Authority. That'll air in February 2025 on YouTube, on the Transportation Channel, on Apple TV, and a bunch of other places where we're now streaming. Look up Transit Unplugged TV. You'll be able to see where that avalanche road Jay talked about. You'll be able to see ride the transit, meet some of the leaders of his agency. By the way, Jay, you've got some great leaders that we were able to interview there.
Oh my gosh, it's such a great team, and their commitment. I think when you go to a transit agency and you can read a little bit of the tea leaves, you get a sense. I The commitment here to customer service every day is and moving people is tremendous. I do it this way. I've been around transit long enough that I've been in a lot of boardrooms. The amount of positive public comment is unbelievable here. It's really
I
I was
heard
like,
about that.
yeah, yeah, you go in. I mean, look, there are people who are, at any world, you're gonna have people that are upset about something or detract, but we get such strong support from the community. We get these constituent reports in. So many people are really happy with what we're doing, and they take the time to tell you. It's even better, right? So
Wonderful. Yeah, that's great. The other thing I was going to mention was the last thing that people can see when they watch it is in your shop. We went down and there's an amazing bus shop. You got a new facility there, a
yeah,
newer facility, and the underground pits are one big room. And
yeah.
I've never seen that before. I mean, that was pretty phenomenal.
Yeah, that's our Depot District new bus facility as part of our Salt Lake service unit. Yeah, it's great. And one thing I hope you saw down there as well is our rollout of our strategic plan,
Oh
which is
yeah.
all designed to push it as far forward to the front line as we can. Even our mission statement, "We move you," was designed to so that every single person, and they do, knows what our mission is, right? And it's a bit interpretive too. I like to think as it's not just we at UTA, but it's we, our communities, it's we, our elected leaders, everybody together working together to make this happen. So no, I think when you go out in our organization, you see a unified feel, which is what I preached from day one here, which is let's always think of ourselves in a 1,400 square mile service area, this huge service area, as one UTA all the time.
Love it. Jay, thanks so much for sharing with us some of the amazing work you're doing there at UTA. We wish you the very best as you head into the new year.
Yeah, Paul, thanks so much for having me again. I really appreciate it. Thanks for allowing me to crow about my agency.
Love it.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Transit Unplugged, the world's #1 transit executive podcast. I'm Julie Gates, executive producer of the podcast. Many thanks to the team that makes this show happen. Host and producer Paul Comfort, producer Chris O'Keefe, editor Patrick Emile, associate producer Cindy Raskin, and consultants Dan Meisner and Jonas Woost at Bumper. Transit Unplugged is being brought to you by Midaxo, passionate about moving the world's people. If you would enjoy behind-the-scenes insights and updates from the show, sign up for our weekly newsletter, which has links to can't-miss conversations with the biggest names in mobility. Head to transitunplugged.com and scroll to the bottom of the page to sign up. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you on the next episode of Transit Unplugged.